All right, welcome to another episode of Scotty Talks NBA. As you guys can see, we got a full panel today. Starting off with my typical co-host, my man JD Oracle _DDS on Twitter. Thank you for being back on, my man JD. Always a pleasure to have you. We are also welcomed by two other guests today. We got my man Vance. That is, if you want to, I'm sorry, Vance. I did forget the ad name. Heads up here today. I'm running behind. I'm stuck in the middle of a bunch of schoolwork. So if I'm off point, I got the rest of my guys here to correct me today, and I apologize in advance. I apologize to you, Vance, for not remembering your ad name, my brother.
All good, bro.
I know it's Crew Love. I just do not want to butcher it. My man Phil's got it down there right on the name tag there for me at Beard of Knowledge. Vance, if you want to just shout your at name out there for me, brother, make sure everybody can find you on Twitter.
Oh, for sure. On Twitter, my Twitter name is crew_love0.
Thank
Please
you.
give your boy a follow.
So we got a full schedule. Obviously, NBA free agency just broke off yesterday. Some people, Phil would call it an overreaction Monday yesterday.
And overreaction Tuesday.
And an overreaction Tuesday. The free agency, it kicked off. It got off to a fast start. Seems like everybody's going to two particular spots. And I think we all know why, but definitely going to dive into some Heat talk, Lakers, Nets. We'll go down the line of all the latest moves in free agency. Make sure we keep you guys all up to date, let you know how we're feeling. So, guys, let's get right into it. We had the Miami Heat. They kicked it off immediately, brought in Kyle Lowry, and then it just kind of fell down the line there. Guys just started joining left and right. JD, I'm going to throw this to you first, my man. What did you think, first of all, just about the Kyle Lowry sign and trade, that deal? They didn't have to give up much for him. How do you like that fit in Miami, and what do you think about them overall now?
All right, so I'm going to start by saying, do dogs hang with dogs? Yes, they do. All dogs go to heaven, so this is a match made in heaven. You got Jimmy Butler playing with Lowry, who's also really gritty. They both get it out the mud. I know a lot of people are kind of squawking at whatever and kind of talking their trash, but at the end of the day, man, like Jimmy wants to play with people who want to play hard, and that's what Lowry's going to give you. Barring any injury, Bam is also a beast, and he can play. He plays a little different, so that would be good. And they still got Duncan, and they just added somebody else. Devin, yeah. So. Listen, man, at the end of the day, I love as a Sixer fan, I hate it. But as a basketball fan, I love it. I love seeing when guys can make something happen and a plan can come together.
Yeah, and I know you guys just hit on a couple of them. They keep on adding players. They just added Markieff Morris. He came over from the Lakers. So just filling out that roster, creating bench depth. Vance, I'll toss it to you next. How do you like the Kyle Lowry fit? Did it catch you off guard? Did it feel like it was always going to happen? Did you expect it to go that way?
It didn't catch me off guard because they kind of talked about this last year around the trade deadline. But I think, like JD said, I think it's a great move for Miami. For my money, they have the best combination of defense and spacing in the East now. Like they can literally put out 3 floor spacers at any time. And they have 4+ defenders on the court at any time. You've got Lowry, you've got Butler, you've got Bam, and you've got PJ Tucker now also, who we didn't mention.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty tough group. And they're going to be dogs, man. They're going to be a tough out in the East. I really like that team.
And just to I just want to piggyback off that PJ Tucker point really quick. Great addition. I saw it mentioned on NBA The Jump I was watching earlier. They actually pointed it out to me, and I kind of agree with it. They were kind of missing Jay Crowder last season and just that toughness factor. PJ Tucker brings all of that. Obviously, he doesn't bring the same offensive impact, but great defender, great hustle, great leadership, great toughness. Phil, I want to let you digress. I know you're not as high on the Heat.
I'm not as high on the Heat. Look, I think the deal they made, that what they had to give up next to nothing to get Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
That was a great deal.
Yeah.
3 years, $90 million for Kyle Lowry at 36 years old. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of years. I don't think Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, and Bam, that's not going to beat the Nets. That's not going to beat the Bucks. Might not beat the Sixers, depending on what moves happen down the line. That might not beat the Hawks. So you just invested 3 years of Butler and Lowry, basically. And I think it's just a recipe for it's going to explode. And you're going to be really stuck in a really tough spot if you're a Miami's front office guy there, because this is not going to win you the East. It's just not going to do it. And I'm not as high on Bam as others are. He's a super talented guy. I don't think he's anywhere near that top big guy level. I think it's a recipe for disaster, honestly. And then giving $90 million to Duncan Robinson, I mean, you pretty much set your franchise up. If it doesn't work this year, you've set your franchise up to fail. And I don't think it's enough to win this year.
And so then I'll kind of piggyback off that. You mentioned, the deal with Duncan Robinson, the deal with Lowry. They also they gave Jimmy Butler an extension. I believe it was
4 years, 180.
4 years. So they're going to be getting into the later stages of Jimmy Butler's career as well as Kyle Lowry's. Any thoughts on that? Would you guys have extended it that far? It was kind of a monster deal. I just don't know. The Lowry, I guess you do what you got to do to get him added to your team. But with Jimmy, I don't know. It's like you said, you're buying into this next probably year or two before that you start to hit that decline. And I just don't know how I feel about that extension out of all of these.
To be honest, I like seeing a team go for it, to be honest. I mean, they have the pieces there. They have the veterans. Why not? They're doing what I would hope that the Sixers would do at some point, is go out, and maybe you overpay, but you overpay to try to win that 1 year. That's what it's all about, right? It's about winning this year. And I'll say in the East, man, when I look at it, I really think that Miami could really do some damage. I mean, just defensively alone, they're going to put out 4 guys that can pretty much defend, any top 5 in the NBA. So, for 1 year, if you're going to go in for 1 year, I think they made the right decision. And one thing that the Heat has always proven, they know when to make changes. They're always 2 steps ahead of the game. So, for that organization, I think it was the right thing for them to do.
I think you do bring up a good point there. First off, they're going for it. And you've got Riley and you got Spoelstra there, 2 guys that have won before. That is the 1+. I can't comprehend the years and money for these guys. I don't worry about the money per se, but the years. It boggles my mind. But like you said, going for it. Once you had Butler, you had to go all in with somebody, whether it was Lowry or somebody else. I just personally don't, and the defense is going to be great, like you said as well. I just don't buy the Lowry Butler, those 2 alpha dogs. The going gets tough. Will they stay on the same page, or will they, butt heads a lot? I don't know.
So I'm gonna piggyback off you. So you said something really cool, and it's funny thing about dogs is when dogs start playing, when the going gets tough, the dogs start going. They're never gonna be out of a game, like never. The way they play defense, the way they're gritty, Lowry and them, they can put up a bunch of points, but they can also strap up. And that's the best way to come back on somebody is really tightening your boots up and getting into it. They don't have a bad defender, except for maybe Duncan Robinson, maybe that I see that could be a liability on defense. But at the same time, I don't really see them having an issue on defense and offense. They can score with almost anybody, looks like to me. But that's just my thing. That's just my thing. It depends how everything shakes out. Because if one of these guys gets injured, they're 30-something years old already. So injuries take a little longer to come back from.
Yeah, and I do like this comment here. It's like, you do go for it, and you can't blame them for wanting to go for it. But is it better than the Nets? You know what I mean? Is it better than the Brooklyn Nets? And I think that's where you got to gauge yourself. But at the same time, I do get it. Like Vance said, I would love for the Sixers to go out and get it. I would have loved for them to go out and get Kyle Lowry. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? I side with that as well, and I see the point if you just give yourself a chance.
Right.
So I guess in that aspect, if they just have a chance with that core against the Nets, that's all you can really ask for. There's no team that you can build that you're going to say that will beat the Nets, right? Like, that's probably not possible. And even the Lakers now, I mean, the Lakers have stacked.
Don't forget about the Bucks, too.
Yeah,
I mean, the Bucks did just win a title. They still got Giannis. Look, I would be saying the same thing if the Sixers got Kyle Lowry. I'd have been like, great to have him this year. I do not even care about the $90 million. I care about the 3 years. I don't like giving out big long-term contracts in the NBA that are fully guaranteed to these older guys. So I'd have the same opinion.
But is 3 years really that long though? Like, because I don't really think 3 years is that long. Like, it's
because if it doesn't work out, you're stuck with a guy for 2 years.
Is there an option built in there? Do you guys know?
I don't think so.
No option in it.
No option at all.
Fully guaranteed 3 years.
Guys, like as much as we think that we know what's going to happen, like last year, we pretty much all sit here and talk about the Sixers and the Nets as if that was going to be the Eastern Conference Finals, and it didn't happen, right? So, here's the thing: like injuries happen, right? People thought the Nets were going to walk to the finals last year, and then Kyrie got injured, and everything changed. I think with that Miami team, I think the theory is you go all in for 1 year and you deal with the repercussions afterwards. And in the NBA, you know how it is. Once you get to that final year of those contracts, you're able to move guys. If teams want to move somebody to your roster and they want to do you a favor by taking a guy on their last year and opening up cap space for them the following year, that's what happens. But I'll never fault a team for going all in. And that's where Miami is right now. Like you said, Phil, when they got Jimmy Butler, at that point they pretty much had to go all in.
Yeah. And I thought it was. I know you guys were talking about the Duncan Robinson signing. I thought that was a good move to keep him, man. 523s over the last 2 seasons. That's a clip that is like unmatched. I don't know if I've averaged. I mean, obviously there's guys like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson out there, but this guy is like a robot. Like, it's just, the form never changes. It's just going in I mean, it's ridiculous, the efficiency and the clip that he shoots the 3 at. And I think it's going to be key. You guys mentioned, I know Gant even mentioned in the comments there about like the scoring ability of the Miami Heat. I mean, he keeps the floor spread. So that's going to be huge. I also think, this takes a ton of pressure off Tyler Hero as well. A lot of pressure going on him coming into this season after that huge outing he had in the bubble last season, and takes a ton of pressure off him. Also, just tapping in on Matt's comment down there about Oladipo as well. I haven't heard anything on him. Market's probably not there for Oladipo in reality. He hasn't played in forever, it feels like. If he comes back and it's low risk if you get him for a minimum. I mean that's another huge piece. With just upside, there's nothing you really can lose out if you get him on a minimum deal. Is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on with the Miami Heat before we move on to the Lakers and what they've been doing?
No. I think Gant's trolling us right now with this whole comment about Jack Harlow. Like that's his boy.
Talking about Tyler Hero.
Yeah, that's his boy, but that ain't they don't look nothing alike.
I like Tyler Hero, man. I think everybody, just like most situations, it's all recency bias. You had people out here overvaluing them. That's not his fault. At the end of the day, he's a second-year player, can shoot from all over the court, has a ton of scoring ability. So I'm not down on Tyler Hero. I just never looked at him to the value that people had him after the bubble. So, like, I don't know. I just kept it in perspective, so I didn't go with the recency bias. If I'm not mistaken, the Heat have his bird rights, so could pay more than the men. Well, yeah, that's true as well. So that's a good point by Vegas Bench Warmers there. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. So let's move on. We'll go to the Lakers. It seems like they're not stopping. Like, I don't even know how many roster spots they have left. But I have a few Lakers fans as friends who still think that Dennis Schroeder might come back and sign for, a mid-level or a minimum. So when are they going to stop adding players? I don't even see how that's possible. But, I mentioned this on Twitter. I'm not a cap wizard. I'm not a guy that's going to sit here and get deep into the numbers like it matters to me. It's not my job. But, you're looking at the Lakers. They already added Westbrook. They got him for, like, in my opinion, I'm not a huge Montrezl Harrell guy. The beard is already Phil's got like 2-3 other shows tonight, so he can't get too slammed on this one. But
oh man,
Lakers are approaching the best roster in the last 10 years. I mean, yeah, it's perspective based, I would say, because a lot of this is just based on upside and expectations, not necessarily production from the past. Guys like Malik Monk, me and Vance were talking about that off the air. Malik Monk's a guy, yeah, I would take a flyer on him too if he's signing for the minimum. That's ridiculous. He's only 23 years old. Yeah. He's a high volume shooter. Yeah, you take a chance on him, but that is potential at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So you talk about Bazemore, Ellington, Ariza, Dwight. They picked up Kendrick Nunn. I know I'm forgetting. They've signed so many people. I know
Melo.
people. Oh yeah, Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, he provides a scoring threat from the small forward, power forward position. So I'll pass it to you first this time, Phil. Since we'll kind of go in the backwards order here. How are you feeling about everything that the Lakers are doing? Are they doing too much? Is it kind of just are people overreacting with these signings? What are your thoughts?
All of the above. That's my answer to that. Look, I said it on your show like countless times last season. You can't bet against the Lakers until someone beats them because LeBron, how many finals has he made in a row before last year outside of his injured season? So you could tell last year he was worn out. He was beat up. He was broken down. This is still the LeBron AD show in LA. Doesn't matter how many guys they sign. It's still those two guys that make this team tick and will make this team go forward. But what all these other signings are doing, taking a little bit of the pressure off. I know people hate the resting the stars and all that kind of load management talk and all, but that's what they're doing. They're setting it up where LeBron could take a game off every so often. AD, if he's a little banged up, all right, he could sit if he has to. So that's what they're doing, and they're building the roster so that these guys, come playoff time, you saw how LeBron looked in the playoffs. He was done. He looked gassed. He looked like he cared less. I think it was more mental and physical, like just exhaustion, not him really giving up on his team. So I think they're setting it up so LeBron and AD can make that run. And that's what you need to do. You need those two guys 110% come playoffs. And that's where I'm at with it. Malik Monk, I wasn't as high on him as other people, but at the minimum, sure, why not?
Yeah, why not?
He might be the 13th guy on this team at this point.
It's crazy.
Dude, you guys are way too high on him. Before this year, he was like a 28% 3-point shooter. He's got a 33% career average from three, and it was only because he shot 40-something this year. So Malik Monk's not the end-all, but he's 23, minimum amount of money. You put him as your 13th spot. He gives you one good game. He paid off in value already.
Yeah. Vance, pass it to you.
So I like the Lakers players individually, but as a group, I'm looking at this group and I'm trying to figure out exactly how they fit. Like, who's the best shooter on the Lakers right now starting lineup? It's probably AD. It's not LeBron. It's not Westbrook. So my question to you guys is, how are they going to space the floor? Because, Malik Monk, as Phil just mentioned, he's a streaky shooter. He's not he's not really a guy that's going to knock down shots consistently. So who is the guy on that roster that you look at that they're going to put at the two that's going to keep that floor spread open for them?
Who's going to play defense too on the team?
Yeah. They look at
so with defense, I think, anytime you have LeBron and AD on the court, I think your defense is always going to be a plus. So for me, I don't really look at their defense so much. I just look at them on the offensive side of the floor and wonder, where is their spacing coming from? To be honest, I thought Buddy Hield was probably a better fit in LA next to AD and LeBron than Westbrook was, because Westbrook and LeBron are pretty redundant. I mean, they do a lot of the same things. So, is Westbrook going to be off the ball? We all know that Westbrook isn't a great shooter. So I have a lot of questions about how that lineup is going to work.
You say Lowry and Butler might bump heads at some point. If I said that, I better be able to say that Westbrook and LeBron are going to bump heads at some point, because that's a recipe to blow up real fast.
So LeBron doesn't want to hide his emotions either. Go ahead, JD.
So I gotta jump in real quick. So Phil, I'm not arguing with what you're saying. I believe what you're saying to an extent, but I just think you're talking about LeBron James. You're not talking about one of these poop butts. You're not talking about Bradley Beal or James Harden. You're talking about LeBron James. Like, it's like somebody arguing with Michael Jordan. How do you think that's gonna go? It's not gonna go good for you. You're either gonna be packing your shit or you're gonna be on the bench so deep that you're never gonna get in. So in my mind, I don't think you run into that. I do think the Buddy Hield thing that Vance brought up, that is a major part. I'm very high on Buddy Hield. He shoots at a higher clip than Malik Monk, but he might require more money. That contract he got is a damn nightmare. So if you don't want to take that Buddy Hield contract, if you really struggling for cash. So my thing is, and this is, I'm throwing this out to anybody. If you look at the Lakers on paper, they look really good. The names look amazing. You got a lot of cats that are going to be Hall of Famers on that team. But the only problem about being a Hall of Famer is you got to know when to sit the hell down, because At the end of your career, if all y'all getting together, somebody's got to have some energy. And if the only thing you got is Malik Monk, who's 23 years old, if everybody else is beat down and tired, like that LeBron James that we saw last year, that can't happen again. Like him being that tired and worn down, and I don't know if it was because he was, trying to promote Space Jam or what, but he can't be tired like that going into next year's playoffs with the Warriors being strong again and with all these other teams coming back. Like he has to be at full clip. So maybe them having this plethora of players, maybe he can sit down and, get some rest and do some load management. But as of right now, I'm with you guys. I'm not saying they the best. It looks good, but we need to see something.
Yeah, and that's kind of, how I feel. Obviously, I guess what gets misconstrued here is that with healthy AD, the Lakers are still the number one team in the West, like without these additions, right? Like I would probably still slate them as the number one team in the West when AD and LeBron are both fully healthy. When you add these players, it's just like Phil said, it kind of just takes the pressure off. Like you don't have to rely on one single player too much, but I do get it. It's going to be, so crowded on offense. Like Vance mentioned Russell Westbrook. You don't want him off the ball shooting. Like when we played the Wizards in the first round, I was relieved every time Russell Westbrook took a jump shot. Like that was a win for the defense. So he can't be playing off ball. The only way that I think, first off, the Westbrook and LeBron fit, the only way I see that fitting is if they stagger Westbrook with the second unit and you use him as a guy that can you kind of let loose with that second unit, run the court, take the shots that he wants to take. Because I do think, LeBron, while he's an ultra leader, he's been through it all. He's not afraid to share how he feels. He's not afraid to share how he feels. If he's disgruntled with Russell Westbrook taking a shot, he will let you know right on the court. And I just don't know how Russell Westbrook reacts to that because he doesn't take well to disrespect or showing him up. Like he doesn't take well to that. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. If anybody can fit with Russ personality wise, I would imagine it's LeBron. He tries to make it work. But we'll see how that plays out. Just an odd mix of characters. It's like they wanted to do this like reunion thing, but like they didn't care what the shooting percentages were. Like it doesn't matter what you shoot from three. Just come on back. If you're lanky, you're athletic, you can hop on the squad. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. That's to be told. But at the end of the day, it probably comes down to LeBron and AD after all. Just like it always does. So,
Scotty.
Yeah.
So you remember, when you play pickup, right? Some guys come to play pickup and they come by themselves. All right. LeBron comes with his 5. Like you ask him if he got next, he say, nah, we got next. Like this, the 5 of them. LeBron is the type of cat that come to the gym with all 5 of his dudes. He's not playing with nobody else. Like it's only his 5. And if they pick him up after he lose for the one, he ain't playing. He got to run with his 5. This looks a lot like that to me. He said, Carmelo, bro, we ain't never played together. Like this is going to solidify we're going to get your ring, solidify your legacy. Like that's what this is. It's like, hey, all the old cats that we came in and hung with, except Chris Paul decided to come play with LeBron. Like,
when's Dwayne Wade going to come out of retirement and join the squad?
That's all I'm saying. Rare wine. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah. So I think we all feel about the same. I mean, for me, it's like the Lakers are just taking from other teams at this point. Like they're hogging all the role players for themselves. Like they don't need all of these players to fill out their depth. They're just going to be really, really deep to the point where a lot of these guys, who knows, they might get waived as well. Once you get to the start of the season, you may see that happen. So we'll see how it plays out. But the Lakers were front runners anyways with that big 2, you would call it. I want to move on to the Chicago Bulls because they've been spending some money, making some moves. The first thing I want to ask is Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan, is that enough for you guys? Do you think that that's enough to get Lavine to commit, get extended, stay in Chicago? Obviously, they added Vucevic at the trade deadline. I'll toss it to you first, Vance. How did you feel overall about the moves that they made? Gave a lot of money to DeMar DeRozan, gave a lot of money to Lonzo Ball. But ultimately, I think it does lean towards keeping Lavine. How do you feel about that, Vance?
Yep. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I really like the Lonzo Ball signing. Lonzo Ball is the consummate point guard. And, you know, one thing that we don't talk about with Lonzo is he also defends very well too. And on top of that, you know, if you watch his game, his shot has come a long way over the last couple of years. So I think he's a great addition to that Bulls team. I talked about this on Twitter the other day. DeMar DeRozan, one of the best mid-range scorers that we've seen in this game in a long time. And I think when you add that to Zach Lavine, who's a 3-level scorer, I think you really have something, you know, brewing there in Chicago. And we haven't even talked about Nick Vucevic yet. Nick Vucevic is also a really good player. So, you know, that starting five is going to be really talented. And then when you look at the bench, like I know they have Kobe White. Kobe White's a really good player. I think he's going to excel even more in that bench role than he did as a starter. You know, Markkanen, I think Markkanen's a restricted free agent, but he's another guy. He's another, you know, stretch 4, stretch 5 that can play major minutes for them. So I really like that team, and I like the direction that they're going in. And I think that they're going to be at least the top 6 team in the East. Patrick Williams as well. Yeah, he's going to be a really good player.
Yeah, I was going to add that in, but you got it. Phil, you want to go next? How do you feel about this?
He stole basically everything I want to say, but I want to reiterate 2 key things. He said, you know, we haven't talked about Vucevic yet. Vucevic and Lonzo Ball are 2 super underrated players in this league. Vucevic is probably, I'm just spitfiring off the top of my head, a top 5 center in this league, top 4, 5, 6 somewhere, and he doesn't get that credit at all. Okay, yeah. Lonzo Ball. I would have liked to seen him come to the Sixers to be our point guard. You know, if he was available in a sign trade, say you trade Ben Simmons for like a Beal or whoever, a Buddy Hield, and then you trade somebody else and you bring in, you know, Lonzo Ball over. They gave up nothing to get Lonzo Ball, basically. You know, Thomas Sanaraki and whoever else, 2nd round pick. You know, they gave up nothing. I think they've done great. I still don't know if it's enough to keep Zach Lavine. I mean, if they're the 5, 6 seed, is that enough to keep him happy? I don't know, but, you know, Ball and Vucevic, 2 completely underrated players. 5 seed, I don't know, but they're definitely a playoff team for sure with this lineup.
That was going to be the next question, and maybe you can answer this first, JD. How high do these moves boost them up in the Eastern Conference? How far up would you put them?
Man, honestly, for real, we being 100% honest, they young. They're still really young. Like, you ain't got to get it done. The window is not a thing. Like, it's a lot less pressure like the Atlanta Hawks last year. They don't have a window. Like, it was just like we're playing ball.
They do have a window because Zach Lavine's entering the last year of his deal. And if they don't win this year, Zach Lavine's going to – it doesn't matter whether, you know, they play well together. Zach Lavine's leaving if they don't, you know, make the playoffs or make a run of some kind.
But what I think that Zach Lavine has enough smart people around him saying, okay, this don't need to happen this year. Now we can see some progress, then okay, cool. Like if we can see something we like, these guys are young. Like I don't think anybody is in their starting lineup is over 30 years old.
Well, DeMar DeRozan would be the
and Vucevic is getting close.
If he's the old head in the group, then I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm okay with that. Like to be honest with you,
Vucevic is 30.
Okay, so Vucevic is 30. He's a big guy. So I mean, you have a small window, but it's not a ticking time bomb. It's not like a woman like ready to at 40 years old trying to have a baby. Like you got a little time. All right. So we don't need to like do any of that crazy stuff. I think Chicago, they may have a year possibly like the Atlanta Hawks had this year, where nobody sees them coming and nobody expects them to be there, but they're just there because they're having fun and they're hooping. And Lonzo Ball, nobody gives him credit because they talked a lot of shit on when he first got in the league, but that dude has become a considerably better 3-point shooter. And I mean, and that helps. Like when you can stretch the floor, he's a great passer. He can handle the rock. He's not as good a shooter as his little brother, but you know, I think they did a lot of moves. I like the Bulls right now.
Lonzo's getting there though, man. 38% from 3 basically last year, almost 15 points, 5.7 assists, averages close to 5 rebounds. So I mean, it can only get better, right? And he was what? He was playing a lot off the ball with Eric Bledsoe as well. So put him in a bigger role with Chicago, probably a better fit for him as well. He's going to be able to space them all out. You talk about Vucevic and his range. You got Zach Lavine, 3-level scorer. If they're able to retain a guy like Lowry Markkanen, I don't know if they will be able to, but just the way they could spread out the floor, that's going to be ridiculous. I think Lonzo could really prosper there, because when you mix that shooting with the with his ability to pass, facilitate, his athletic ability, you're going to get a really good player. Both little brothers, JD.
Hey, I'm not gonna clown Jello. I think Jello had a rough go at it. He got in that trouble at UCLA. I think he's being judged. I think he's being judged very harshly because we haven't really seen a whole lot from him. And Melo kind of had like a restart because he went overseas and he's been a pro at this point for 3 or 4 years. So we're not actually talking about that. Dude's been a pro since he was like 17 years old or 16 or something. So we gotta give Jello a little bit of a leeway. He's not the tallest of the brothers. He's actually the stump, but he can hoop.
How do we feel about Alex Caruso?
I think that's a good pickup for them.
It is. It's a nice role player, nice energy guy.
A lot of money for Alex Caruso, but
exactly.
Man, I'm trying to find his money there, but man,
inflation is a mofo, bro. It
is.
You know what, guys?
4 years, $37 million. And y'all complain about Korkmaz getting 15. Alex Caruso got $37 million.
So listen, at this point, I don't even look at the money anymore because the money's ridiculous pretty much with everybody.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous with everybody. But one thing I will say about the Bulls, one thing that I like about them is that they have 2 guys that can close games.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that the Sixers had one of them. I mean, they have 2 options. They can go to Zach Lavine to close a game, or they can go to DeMar DeRozan to close the game. That's a beautiful thing. And I think DeMar DeRozan was a very smart signing by the Bulls because I think a guy like him can mentor a guy like Zach Lavine. Yeah. So I think Zach Lavine stays because of that reason.
And you never know who's gonna be homeboys either. Like you never know. Like the weirdest groups of people become friends. Like who would have thought that Boban and Tobias Harris would be like homeboys? Like that's like you never know. Like you don't know who in that locker room is gonna jail. Like Lowry and DeRozan. Everybody says that DeRozan is one of the best teammates they've ever had, and that's everywhere he's gone. So, you know what? You never know. You never know.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can kind of let it at that. It's kind of a mixed bag with the Bulls. We got to just kind of see how they gel together, see how they play. But the potential's there, and I do love the signing of DeMar DeRozan. As you guys mentioned, just a good character guy. I think it shows a little bit of his character that he's willing to even go to the Bulls, right? Like, probably just didn't work out with the Lakers. I thought they were in on DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, he's a guy from LA, wanted to go home, but just didn't work out. So he went to Chicago. And it's nice to see the Bulls with like a decent squad again. Like, it's been a while. So, probably the Derrick Rose days, Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, you guys remember them. But, yeah, it's exciting to see the Bulls, actually get in some steam here. We'll move on. Maybe do you guys want to touch on the Brooklyn Nets a little bit? I know they didn't do too much, or we can maybe just make them a reference point. We can move on to the Sixers. I know the Brooklyn Nets, they got Patty Mills. They brought in James Johnson, I believe. I love the Patty Mills signing. It's a guy I really wanted on the Sixers. I think he's just, especially I thought maybe Matisse could do some recruiting over in Tokyo with the Australian national team, but didn't work out. He went ahead, signed with the Nets, and I think that's a beautiful fit. They traded away Landry Shamet. You get, Patty Mills in there to fill that void. With the second unit, brings shooting and just toughness, just IQ, basketball IQ. He's a good player. Sixers, you guys already know. First move into free agency, they bring back Korkmaz. I know I overreacted at that move. I just really didn't want to see Korkmaz back in a Sixers uniform, to be honest. And it was more of a sign of change for me rather than the actual value of the player. I wanted to move on. I want to kind of change the vibe of this team and, get some consistency in this roster. That, didn't happen. Now, Korkmaz has some upside. He's only, 24 years old, shoots the ball well, has a very good offensive skill set. It's gotten better on defense. He has upside, but, it was just like to me, I guess, with that news breaking, within the first couple hours of free agency, it just made it feel like Korkmaz was like a priority. And if that's a priority going into the offseason, then your priorities are fucked up. Like that's how I feel. But
pretty well there.
Man. God.
So then, we get to today, we bring in Andre Drummond, 1 year minimum vet deal. There was like controversy between that. once again, for me, it was more or less just me seeing other players go other places and watching the Sixers just bringing Andre Drummond. Like, I don't know. It won't hurt is the way I will put that. But there were other guys that I thought, maybe would fit a little bit better, like Robin Lopez, maybe even a DeMarcus Cousins. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a backup center. It's not a huge deal. And then I know Gint just said Yang.
Yeah, he signed for 2 years, 6.5 mil.
Yeah.
How much?
2 years, 6.5 mil.
That's not bad at all.
And George Hill just a few minutes ago announced that he was going to the Bucks.
Again.
So he cleared waivers and went back to the Bucks.
Great. Man, you know what? Can I jump in here, Scotty? Can I go?
I'll let all the negativity come out before I can jump in. Y'all bring your negativity.
Yeah, you got.
Well, I'm gonna plug my ears.
Yeah, please do it because you're gonna need it. This is shit. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna pull any punches. I'm telling you guys what I think. This is some bullshit. Because number one, we didn't watch this dude Daryl Morey say that he had all this juice. I'm gonna go grab these dudes. The only thing he's done is get rid of damn Horford. That's it. He got rid of Horford. So if everybody's happy about Horford, then great. But all these moves he's supposed to be doing prior to the trade deadline and all this, none of this shit panned out. So guess what we at now? We stuck with our star player who got shit talked on by the other star player who now has no value because y'all have shit talked this dude, and now we got to trade him, and nobody wants him, and we're asking for the whole load for the dude, like four first rounders, a star player. Like, where do we get off doing this? What have we won in the last decade or two that makes us believe that we can demand that dudes do what we asked them to do? Like, Ben Simmons was never got to be this juggernaut scorer. Like, I don't even know. Like, people just he's a juggernaut. No, dude has averaged like 14 points for the last 3 years. Like, where did we think he was going to become this massive scorer? Like, it blows my damn mind. It really does. It really does. But second of all, sorry, I'm gonna calm down for a second. Second of all the value that we thought that we were gonna get, we're watching it go to other places. All the valuable free agents are signing other places where we should be getting better, and we're not. We're becoming farther down in the list of teams in the East. Like, when I went to sleep the other night, I did not think that the Chicago Bulls would be in contention of anything. I just didn't. And now we're talking about them possibly being fourth or fifth. And Atlanta is still getting better. Brooklyn, amazingly, is still getting better. I don't know how that's even possible. But these teams are still getting better, and we're stuck. Andre Drummond is who we went and got, and he didn't do shit for the Lakers. I don't did he have a breakout game? Does anybody know? Don't worry, I'll wait.
I'm not an Andre Drummond fan. I mean, I've looked at the numbers. I get it. He's a backup center. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of the fit. I know people say he's better on the offensive end. How efficient is he? I don't know. He's one of the worst free throw shooters in the world. Like, so you add him, and then once again, we've talked about this with Drummond at the backup center position. You have to move Ben, right? Like, there's no way they can be on the same squad. Just like there's no way he and Dwight Howard should have been on the same team or on the court at the same time at all. I'm interested to see how you guys feel about this because it's becoming very apparent that Philadelphia, and obviously it's not a destination for these players. Obviously it's LA, it's Miami, it's warm weather, it's the beach. How worried are you guys as far as the Sixers being able to build a championship contender? Because as it just keeps happening, it's starting to worry me more and more. And it's not just in basketball, it's in baseball. You see these deals, these teams are going out and making it happen, whether it's money and going over the luxury tax, whatever the case may be. How worried are you guys as far as what it pertains to building a championship contender by filling these back spots of the roster with these older veterans that are just looking for a contender? It seems like they never picked the Sixers. So I'll toss it to you, Phil. I know you got a lot to say on the topic. How do you feel so far? I know you're going to tell us to relax.
Everybody watching, if you would see the group chat amongst Team DSM, dude, it takes me 20 minutes to drive home from work. In that 20 minutes, I missed 52 messages this afternoon from 4 to 4:20. 52 messages. All right, because these two guys overreacting beyond belief. Last year, I told everybody, Daryl Morey, he's okay. What does he ever want? Everyone told me to relax, wait, be patient. So now I'm waiting and being patient, and you're all telling me to stop.
That wasn't us. That wasn't
Scotty,
us.
Scotty was one of the people.
I was.
Saying relax. Give him time. I didn't know you, JD. But you know what? I relax. I'm waiting, and now you guys want more. The Ben Simmons trade is not going to happen instantly. It's going to take time. It's a complex deal. It's going to involve a lot of moving parts. It's going to involve a lot of stars on max deals. This isn't a Lonzo Ball for Thomas Sonaraki or whatever his name type deal. I can't say his name. I'm trying so hard.
Saturansky.
Am I still saying it right? I don't know. That's not the deal we're making. We're talking about Ben for Dame, Ben for Beal. We're talking about Ben for multiple players from the Kings. We're not talking about low-level guys. We're talking about all-star players, superstar players moving. It doesn't happen overnight. And then once that deal happens, whatever it is, Dame, Hield and Bagley, all the different rumors out there, when that happens, then the rest of the dominoes are going to happen. Whether you get a point guard back or not, then you'll know whether you have to trade Tobias Harris or not. Who else gets moved? So much is going to happen. Our bench, we still have technically Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle. We still have Tyrese Maxey. That's your bench right there. Everybody loved them in the playoffs. Now that they're scrubs, wait till we see what happens with Ben Simmons and then overreact or not, but not till then.
And so then, Vance, I'll toss this to you. How realistic do you think it is, as far as putting a package of, Ben and company together for a Dame Lillard? Obviously, it doesn't seem like Zach LaVine's going anywhere. It doesn't seem like Bradley Beal, honestly, is leaving Washington. All the reports that have come out says he wants to stay there and lose the rest of his life. So how realistic do you think it is, Vance, as far as moving Ben? How much pressure is on the Sixers now to move Ben?
So I don't think it's I don't think it's realistic at this point that they're going to move Ben for Bradley Beal or Damian Lillard, because neither one of those guys have said that they want to be traded, right?
Yeah.
So that has to happen first in order. I'm sure they've had conversation. I'm sure the Sixers have spoken with the Wizards and, they've done their due diligence with Portland, but those guys have to want to be traded first in order for it to happen. So, my thing with Ben is, guys, honestly, it's not going to be popular. I think you take the best deal that you can get for Ben and you get guys that fit what it is that you're trying to do. If Morey's philosophy is what it was in Houston, where, he wants to shoot more threes than twos, then, get guys on your team that can handle the ball and shoot the ball. This current roster with Ben doesn't fit, so for me, it's less about getting, I don't particularly care I would like to get Dame or Beal. That would be great. But I think you need guys that fit your roster and fit the identity of what it is that you're trying to do. So, I think that, ultimately he doesn't get traded for Bradley Beal or Dame Lillard. And I think Ben needs to go sooner than later, because the worst thing that they could do, in my opinion, is bring him back here and start the season with him. Because I don't think Ben is prepared for the wrath that Philadelphia is about to unleash on him when he comes back. So I think it's best for the Sixers to make the best deal that they can get and get him out of here and start to move forward.
And I mean, you talk about a fan base that will be on edge. The first time this guy misses a free throw, the first time he passes out of an open layup or an open dunk, it's never going to end. I think it's to the point, of a Carson Wentz, perhaps, where it is just best to send him away and give him a change of scenery as well. I think it's what's best for both sides. So as far as, Ben Simmons, I'm kind of with you, Vance. I'm not sitting waiting as far as, waiting till the trade deadline of mid-season. I'm not trying to trade my point guard mid-season just to get Dame. Like, I think it's something that needs to be done now. I think it needs to be done well before the season starts as well. Just so you can get these guys in the gym together, get some chemistry built. What it comes down to at the end of the day, like Vance said, I think it's fit. It's just fit. Put in the right guys around Joel Embiid. If you can move Tobias Harris, move him. I'm open to that as well. Even if that's just to open up cap space at this point, I'm open to moving Tobias Harris. But I just want to go for it all, and bringing this same team back does not please me at all.
I know JD wants to jump in here, but I've said it 100 times on 100 different shows. Trading Ben Simmons, whether it's for best you can get now or a superstar, it's just one trade of several or one complex 3-4 team. It's not just a straight up thing. So much will happen once that first domino falls.
Yeah. JD, you want to get back in here?
Yeah, give me a second. So I'm gonna give myself 30 seconds to talk about this because I know what's up. Let me move myself around. All right.
Man, we're really testing this out live on the air here.
We're gonna do it.
Face big as shit up on the screen, bro.
Hey man, that's what I like. We like to see the people. All right, ready? All right. So first of all, number one, Ben Simmons cannot come back here because
didn't start.
It had to start. It started.
There it is.
Listen. First off, you only took 4 seconds off, so I'm gonna give myself an additional 4 seconds. All right. So Ben Simmons can't come back here for 2 reasons. One of the reasons being that they probably will stone him. And I haven't seen anybody stoned since the Middle Ages, but his ass will get stoned. Number two, if he does not leave before the first or second game and he does some bullshit, him and Joel Embiid will get into a fist fight. And I've never seen an Aussie person in an African fight, but I'm pretty sure it will be really bad. Number three, and my last point is that if Daryl Morey doesn't do something very, very soon with Ben Simmons, he's gonna have Rich Paul come to his house and hit him with a bag of tomatoes. That's all I'm saying. I'm done.
So, guys, let me say this: do you think that it's a coincidence that Danny Green and Dwight Howard didn't want to come back here?
So I don't know for sure, but I did see rumors floating around right when this show went live that Danny Green is trying to stay now.
Okay,
it's nothing confirmed by the big three of Shams and Woj. It's none of them. But lower level guys have been saying that they are trying to work something out still.
So I just want to respond to Dylan real quick. Dylan, I agree with you, but the flip side of that is different can be better. Mm-hmm. Different can be better. I think if you surround NB with floor spacers, and you surround him with 4 other guys that are at least willing to shoot the basketball, that can make you better. See, I think we have this thing when it comes to Ben Simmons is that we can't imagine the Sixers without Ben Simmons, right? Because he's been here for 5 years. But did Ben Simmons play on any of the Final Four teams in the NBA this year? He wasn't on any one of those rosters. So other teams are out there getting it done, other ways. But, I think to me at least, I don't know if it's true that Danny Green is trying to come back or not, but I think it's telling that, veterans like that, kind of want to skip town when the Sixers were so close. They were closer than, they lost that series in 7 games, but we all know that they shouldn't have lost that series. It's a surprise to me that those guys don't want to come here and run it back. And I'm wondering, why is that? And I think, personally, I don't know this for sure, but, if you tell me that Ben Simmons is coming back and I had to sit through that all season, I'm not sure if I want to do that again, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, Vance, real quick, do you think, do we think this is any of it have to do with our fan base? Is anybody thinking it has anything to do with our fan base? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not from here, but I was always a Sixers fan, and I caught hell for the Sixers, so I feel like I can say this. We have some of the worst fucking fans in the world. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, they go hard. I know you guys keep talking about accountability and all that, but as a teammate, what Joel did was wrong. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, where I'm from, Joel does that in the locker room. We get back in that locker room. He gotta catch the fade because you handle that stuff in house. You don't go in front of the press conference and air that out, because at the end of the day, when Joel Embiid was fat for the last 6 years, nobody was out here talking about you need to lose weight. That came from Doc Rivers when he got there. That challenge came from him. So my thing is, I know Joel is probably the heart and the soul of the team, but airing that dirty laundry out is not going to help anybody in any situation.
Yeah, I looked up, tried to find where I saw the rumor of Danny Green. It wasn't that he was signing here or trying to, that the Sixers were trying to work out a sign and trade for him to go wherever it is that he's going to go. So I misspoke. I misread that rumor there.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he was looking to sign back, it's because he didn't get any attention on the market. That would be what it would have to be.
We win that Hawks series if Danny Green's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Joel Embiid comments on Ben Simmons, I don't know, man. I think if I was Joel Embiid, I would be fed up with this dude. Like, I don't care how he feels about it, honestly. Like, I would let it known to the. I told you guys in the chat, if I was Joel Embiid, I would go to management right now and be like, trade Ben Simmons now. Trade him before the season, or you're gonna trade.
It's your leader taking accountability of his team. It's his locker room. It's his team. He's standing up. He knows nobody wants to come here. He lost Jimmy Butler because of Ben Simmons. All those rumors and things. He's the leader. He's standing up for his team. He is the centerpiece. So I'm cool with it.
And my biggest thing, because I get JD's point. Like, Joel Embiid was out of shape before. He was not conditioned. He's had a lot of injuries. He's still better than Ben Simmons. He's still the best player on the squad. Like, that's my biggest thing. And, if Ben Simmons wanted to elevate, if he's jealous of the team being, built around Joel Embiid, if he's jealous of Joel Embiid being the number one, then make yourself the number one. Play good enough. He's always diving off to Joel Embiid. Don't rely on him so much.
I get it, but what I'm saying is, like, nobody else said anything except for Doc Rivers. No, none of these other guys. Other guys came to his defense. Like, so that's another part of this. Like, is it a fact that maybe Joel Embiid and him have a beef, and that's just what it really boils down to?
No, I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is, JD. These two have been co-workers for the last 5 years, right?
Okay, I like that analogy. Let's go.
They've been co-workers for the last 5 years. Now, Joel had to sit through Ben in his rookie season against Boston, which we all forgave him for, right? We forgave him for that because we knew he wasn't a shooter in his rookie season. So we said he'll come back, he'll work on his jump shot, and we'll be better, right?
Yep.
Then we come back again, if I'm not mistaken, and we play Toronto. Okay. Joel got sick or whatever. He had the poops or whatever it was, but
when he went to Jim Steaks and got a bad steak the night before, right. Yeah.
But let's be honest, Ben Simmons didn't have it again. He came up short that series in Game 7, barely took any shots in that series. Then you get to this season, and Ben pulls what he pulled in Game 7. Joel had, in theory, I agree with you, but Joel had every right to be frustrated because he's lived through this. And this is the thing, and this is what I don't expect other people to get, including Danny Green. Danny Green hasn't had to live through that.
Yeah.
Danny Green came here from Los Angeles after winning a championship. So to him, it's like, oh, Philadelphia fans are too mean. But the fans in Joel have had to live with Ben and his shortcomings for the last 5 years. So, Ben, the onus is on Ben. It's not on what Joel said. It's not on the fans. Ben should have been working with Drew Hanlon 4 or 5 years ago. He chose, the having fun and the publicity over becoming a bigger, better basketball player. Say what you want about Joel. Joel works every summer. He works.
He did, and
we're not. So the thing about it is just that Ben, they've been working together for 5 years, and Ben has let him down 3 times. Like, I'm at the point now where you don't want to lose a good employee because of a bad employee, right? That's what happens all the time in the workplace. I don't want to lose Joel because we're trying to coddle Ben and bring Ben along and think about Ben's feelings. Forget about Ben's feelings. Ben hasn't done the work. Get him out of here.
And that's fine. I just feel like we all gonna be sick. I'm just being honest. I'm gonna tell you right now, and this ain't no JD Oracle moment. This is a random, just a normal moment. If y'all think that this dude at 25 years old, we're seeing the end result of Ben Simmons, then you are sadly damn mistaken. We might watch this dude turn into a complete beast that everybody want him to be, and then we all gonna be sitting here looking stupid.
But we won't look stupid though, JD, because we've got history behind us that proves that. Here's the thing, that might happen, but it's probably not going to happen here because he needs a change. And the way that you change, sometimes you need a wake-up call, right? Sometimes you need to get let go from that job. Sometimes you need to be moved on. Sometimes you need to go somewhere else in order for you to get it. But dude he's been too comfortable here.
The damage is done here, though. Like, I know what you're saying, but the damage is done here. We already watched Jimmy Butler leave here. Who's going to want to play with Joel Embiid now? Think about that. Who's going to want to play with him? They're not lining up at the door.
There'll be people that want to play with
because of Ben. Jimmy loves Joel Embiid. Like he would have stayed with Joel.
Players
Embiid.
want to play with
He's
people
lobbying
that
for Joel Embiid to come to Miami.
Listen, but what
That's
I'm telling you,
facts, man. He left Philly because of Ben Simmons.
Ben would be leaving. That's what I'm telling you. But nobody's lining up saying we want to come here. Dame's not saying, "Oh, I want to come here. Trade me for Ben." He's not saying that. Nobody's saying that. What people are saying is
nobody ever says that they want to get like that. The way you're making it sound is like Dame's got to stand up on Sports Center and say, "Trade me to Philly because that's where I want to go." That doesn't happen.
And my counterpoint to being sick if Ben Simmons figures it out somewhere else, JD, I was sick as hell after that Atlanta series. I was sick as hell, and I've been sick as hell after every playoff series since Ben Simmons has been here. I mean, what's the difference?
Only thing I'm saying is you're still not no closer to winning one without him. That's the only problem. Like getting Dame doesn't fix it. Like you probably still won't win it. Like I'm gonna be honest, I'm a Philly fan too, and just because you get
how
Dame,
does Dame not fix the problem that we had last year?
Exactly.
He might fix the problem, but whose defense is he playing? Like that's what I'm saying. You might have Matisse Thybulle, but you don't know what goes into this package to get Dame. So you may lose both of them. So we don't know. Everybody keeps saying they had an answer.
You may get Robin Covington back in the trade.
You may not get nobody but Dame.
Figure it out.
You don't get nobody but Dame.
I don't think anybody was worried about the defense of the Nets.
And that's what I realized. We had one of the best defenses in the league. And guess what? We still couldn't stop Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. It means nothing.
Why couldn't you stop Trae Young and the Hawks?
Because Ben Simmons can't score.
We couldn't score enough.
We didn't have a guard that could score.
You had somebody getting
we had no
on them every
presence.
game. Listen, dude, we watched Trae Young get to the middle and throw oops. That's what we watched. We watched Lob City again. That's what we watched. And we watched offensive rebounding. Ben
Simmons there.
Also, Joel Embiid. He's the big man. So if he's not getting the rebounds, turnovers, there's a lot of things that went into those losses.
We're going to blame Trae Young's performance on Joel Embiid.
No, but
Ben Simmons is supposedly the best defender in the league.
He also didn't play him the entire season. They kept putting him on different people. Come on, man. We got to be real about this.
He was getting him in foul trouble.
Why was he getting him in foul trouble?
That's not for me to figure out.
Look at the way they was calling the game. Like, of course,
you're all over the place here, JD.
I'm not.
You're not connecting any dots here.
Listen, all I'm telling you is that at the end of the day, y'all can say what y'all want to say, but I'm 100% on Ben Simmons. I'm just telling you, nobody's gonna want to come here after the shit that Embiid just pulled. I don't care. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You cannot go after somebody on in national TV and then think that somebody else is gonna come here. The stars aren't built like that now. They're more into their feelings. Like Michael Jordan can say that to somebody because it's Michael Jordan. Like he can jack somebody up, he can fight somebody, punch Steve Kerr in the face or whatever, and people are gonna still come back because they know they're gonna win a chip. You're not gonna win a chip to come here. You do that for LeBron because LeBron's probably gonna win a chip.
JD, let me ask you a question. How many years did it take for Jason Tatum to make improvement on his game?
Probably like maybe 1 or 2 years.
Right. How long did it take Jaylen Brown to make improvement on his game? 3, probably, right?
Three maybe.
How long did it take Ja Morant to take the next step?
He was already there. He was drafted that way.
How many years did it take Zion to make the next step?
I don't really think Zion has made the next step yet. I think he's working, but he's not there yet.
He's better than Ben Simmons.
I mean, that's cool.
How about Lonzo? How many years did it take Lonzo to take that next step?
Lonzo's an even better comp, Phil. So the point that I'm making is with these guys in the NBA, the guys that put in work, it's not a secret who's putting in work because you see it year over year. So my point is that it doesn't take 5 years for you to shoot a 15-foot jump shot. It doesn't take 5 years for you to shoot a 5-foot jump shot. And the bottom line is Ben Simmons still won't do it. So the thing about it is, I'll go back to my original point. He's not going to change here. He's not. He needs to change the scenery where he can go somewhere else and start all over. He's not going to change here because if he was, he would have done it already.
You see that. I mean, he's already playing games this offseason, posting these pictures on IG with
go shooting left-handed.
Box. I mean, like, come on with the games, man. You talk about what Joel Embiid's saying. What did Ben Simmons say after the game? I am who I am.
And it is what it is.
And it is what it is. Losing to the Hawks in the second round as a 1 seed. It is what it is. That should tell you all you need to know about this guy.
Has nothing to do with Philly. It has nothing to do with not wanting to come here. Has nothing to do with not wanting to play with Joel Embiid.
Maybe in LA he
none of
would
that.
play good. I don't
Nobody
know.
wants to come here while Ben's here. That's why none of these free agents are signing here. Not just because of the money. It's because Ben is still here.
Okay. So what I'm saying is he's going to get traded. So who are we getting? Since everybody knows, who are we getting?
We don't know who we're getting yet.
Nobody.
It could be what Vance says. Whoever best available. It could be the dream Dame. It could be somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter. But like I said, JD, you got to remember, trading Ben is one piece of the puzzle. There's going to be multiple trades happening as soon as we figure out what we get for Ben Simmons. You can't go trading for a point guard if you still have a chance at Dame. You can't go trading for a shooting guard if you're getting Buddy Hield. You have to wait to see what the Ben package is, and then you shape the roster around it.
What time is this? I'm Scott. I'm taking this because we're not getting anybody. It's 8:14 on a Scotty Talks talking the NBA free agency. We're not getting anybody. We're running this shit back. I'm telling you.
Let's do it.
There's a chance that happens.
A meaningless regular season. Because what is the point of watching if they run it back? Because it doesn't matter what they do in the regular season until you see Ben Simmons shit the bed in the playoffs again.
Exactly.
You're right. I'm just saying. Only thing I'm saying is all we're doing is this is our own fault. Like that's my point I'm trying to make. This is our own fault,
man.
You just can't. Who's gonna play with that? I'm just telling you.
How is Ben Simmons' development our fault?
It's just going at him. It's just going at him going at him in person. Like Joel had a damn burner account for Twitter, dude. Like, come on, bro. Like this dude got his own shit going on. What are y'all talking about? It's like KD.
I want to go ahead and end the segment with just a few trade scenarios. So I sent these to you, JD, Vance. I think I sent them to you as well from ESPN. They were just, some NBA writers had suggested some packages that might be able to obtain Ben Simmons. So we can go through these. I believe it's 4 packages, and we can go through the round table and kind of just let me know if you would accept that for Ben Simmons. So I'm going to start with the Sacramento.
Can I just say before you post it up there, I'll accept all of them without seeing them, because that means we moved on and step 1 of the puzzle is done. Just saying.
All right. So the first one I got here is from Sacramento. Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, and Marvin Bagley III for Ben Simmons, straight up.
Oh, that's done.
Dude, I'll sign that check right now. No problem.
I'll take him to the train station.
Dude, I'll just take Hield and Bagley. You throw in Halliburton too?
And why? I know Halliburton is the key right there, but yeah, I'm with you guys because and my thought process is why wouldn't Sacramento do that? I mean, why should they run it back with the squad that they have? They've been at the bottom of the West forever, and Ben loves California so much. Send his ass on out to Sacramento.
Yep,
the best city in California. Send them down.
Hey, listen, the biggest piece of that, I know everybody likes Halliburton, but I think the best piece is Marvin Bagley. Because
they're not going to be targeting Bagley now that they got Andre Drummond, probably. Because you'd want Bagley to be that backup big, and now you got Drummond, unfortunately.
Well, isn't Drummond a 5, though? He's a 4. Yeah. Bagley's a 4.
I wouldn't be mad if they still went and got Bagley. Honestly, he's young, so you would have him for a little bit at least. So I would probably still do it with Bagley, but I do get what you're saying, Phil.
I think with the signing of Niang probably negates your need for Bagley, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Does he shoot as good as Bagley, though?
He's a pretty decent 3-point shooter, Niang.
Yeah.
42%, I think he was last year.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So then the next one is Portland, but this is the one for Damian Lillard. So this is you just get Damian Lillard in return. And so it's Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, and 2 first-round picks. That's what ESPN thinks would get that deal done. That's easy money for me. I would throw Tease in if they wanted him. I mean, that's how far I would go. But
long as you don't say Thibault. I like Thibault. I can't do it for that.
I feel you. I do love Thibault, and I do like what I've seen from the Australians.
And he's showing us something different, dude.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, but I like
the next one is also the Trailblazers. So this one's a little bit more from the Blazers, straight up for Ben. So the 76ers would get CJ McCollum, Nasir Little, and a protected first-round pick.
Done. I don't like Little that much. I mean, I'm not against
Little that much either.
But I don't like him that much. I mean, I don't know. For Portland, it's got to be Dame. He got to be in that pack, or I'm not doing it. Like, I just can't. Like,
McCollum could step in, play the 2. Then you worry about that pick, that protected pick, and other assets we have, and go get yourself a point guard from somewhere else.
But who do you go get though?
We'll figure that out next.
One step at a time.
And move on, Ben. That's step 1. Or you guys were all talking about playoff Maxey, how great he was. Let Maxey be your point guard. I don't care. You're moving on from Ben Simmons, so it's a thumbs up.
I like playoff
Maxey beside, CJ McCollum, who knows? I mean, that might be a good little mix there. And then you throw, Seth Curry is still here, so that's always nice as well. The next one I'm not really going to talk about because it's probably out of the question at this point. But it was Ben Simmons for Zach Lavine and Thomas Satoransky. Doubt the Bulls are going to move Zach Lavine at this point. The last one I wanted to mention was from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So in this deal, you can kind of cancel out. George Hill was mentioned in it. Obviously, they waived George Hill, so probably wouldn't happen that way. But Ben Simmons in a throw-in money piece for D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, 2022 first-round pick, 2024 first-round pick, and that's it. So 2 first-round picks, Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell.
Are those picks protected?
Yeah, exactly.
They are protected.
So I'm not doing a deal with Minnesota unless Anthony Edwards is involved. He's got to be one of the players that we get back in order for us to do that deal.
And I don't want D'Lo because he a locker room cancer, and he'll tell.
I'm not interested. I'm not too interested in D'Lo. We had Zach Noble on last week, and I thought that was wild that he said he wouldn't even trade D'Lo straight up for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, and then you're
getting 2, even if they're protected, you're getting 2 first-round picks, depending on what the protections are. You get D'Lo in here, you trade those picks, other assets you have, you continue to reshape the roster. I'm not thrilled. I don't like D'Angelo Russell's game. He hasn't grown like a Lonzo Ball has in his game, but still, somebody that's going to shoot the ball.
Yeah, the reason why I'm not as big on D'Lo, I like him as a player, but he's injured a lot.
He is.
He's injured a lot. So, you're talking about a guy playing next to Joel Embiid who happens to miss a lot of time. You don't want to have 2 of your best players on your team that are somewhat injury prone.
Agreed.
And missing time. I do like the player. I just don't, I don't like the fact that he's injured as much as he is.
So let me flip it a different way on Ben Simmons here to you guys. Let's talk about it from Ben Simmons' perspective. Where do you think it would be a good fresh start for him? Where's the best place for him to get shipped to?
Someone with a lot of, like the Warriors, or somewhere with a lot of shooting where he don't have to shoot. Like, they're not looking for him to shoot. Even if he's out there, he can make a pass and somebody can shoot the ball from 50 feet away from the damn basket. Like, no matter where he's passing it to.
So I think there's 2 perspectives you can take on this. So one would be, where do you get the best value or the best fit for Ben? And then the other one would be, where can Ben become the best version of himself? So for me, I think, the Warriors, that fit is impeccable. He would have a lot of leadership to follow as well. A lot of guys to learn from. He could learn a lot from Draymond Green, honestly. But what would come with like a team like, a Minnesota or a Sacramento or, even a Portland, if they decide to move from Dame, I don't think they're, in that contention anymore. No pressure. He could go there, figure out his game, get a jump shot. He doesn't have anybody breathing down his neck and worried about him costing a playoff series, anything like that. Even OKC before the draft, I thought that was a good spot for him. Go out there in the middle of nowhere and figure yourself out. But yeah, I think there's 2 perspectives to that, because I do agree with you, JD. I think that's a perfect fit. You put him around with a bunch of shooters around him. So we'll finish off here. I just got, pretty much all the bigger moves here. Which, side note, Kawhi Leonard is still not signed. Do you guys have any underlying feelings about that? Do you think that's a little weird, or do you think he's ultimately going to go back to the Clippers?
Let me tell you something, man. Like, everybody thinks that Kawhi is like quiet and unassuming. I find Kawhi to be the most egotistic. He's more egotistical than like LeBron and KD and those guys, man. Like, don't mistake quiet for. What'd you say?
He's a wild card.
He is. You never know with that guy. You don't know.
He could have.
Somebody said today on Twitter that he was going to go back to Toronto, and I'm like, it's not out of the cards with Kawhi because you never know what Kawhi's thinking. Never.
Hey, I'm gonna throw this out there. Like what? He says the most without saying shit. Like he says more.
Like Paul George.
Like he's like, man, he's so nonverbal. He's like a kid that never learned how to talk, but he can tell you exactly what he wants from across the room. Like, listen, it would not surprise. And I know we're making jokes about Daryl Morey. It would not surprise me if that man ain't in that man DMs right now. Like Kawhi can show up on Philly doorstep. Like that's how crazy this junk is. Like I put nothing past Kawhi. You know what? And the fact that him and Joel is a dog, he might come here and just walk and just sit on the bench and not say nothing and just hoop. Like that's all he really want to do anyway. You know, get load managed for 45 games and then come in the playoffs and do his thing.
Kawhi, man, that's wishful thinking.
Is Kawhi staying or keeping his mouth shut and not signing? Is it a Paul George issue or is it an LA issue? What is it? Is it a management or is it a teammate? That's what I still have no clue on how to figure that one out.
The bag to Kawhi, you offer him whatever you want, right? Whatever he wants, I should say. So why is he not signed?
Playoff P.
Playoff P. I mean, you never know. I thought Paul George balled out in the playoffs, but
stop it.
He did.
I thought he did, JD. I'm not gonna lie to you. Stop. I know he gets clowned. I think it's unnecessary sometimes, though.
Stop.
I love that Paul George on the Sixers.
Listen, I traded for
off the court. Not none of that.
Listen, man, Paul George. I don't know why I don't like Paul George. I think it's mostly because like they have all these high expectations for dude, and he never like really.
That's fair.
He never really elevates. I mean, he did have a great playoffs this year. It wasn't like he was buns, but for whatever reason, Dame got his number or something, man. Like that dude just. I think he threatens him. Like he might beat him like before the games.
So how do we feel? So CP3 back to Phoenix on a 4-year, $120 million deal. How do we feel about that? Is that a little too much? A little too long?
Same thing with the Kawhi Leonard or Kyle Lowry. I don't care about the money. 4 years, he's gonna be 40, 41 at the end of that contract. Dude, it's insane. It's asinine.
Run it back with him, Vance. You run it back with him?
I'd run it back, but I just don't like 4 years.
I think you had to make a deal with the devil to get that done. Yeah. I think the only way he comes back is if he got what he wanted. And coming off of making the NBA Finals, they felt the pressure to do it. Listen, if they don't do that, their fan base will be up in arms. So,
or he goes to LA where the rest of his homeboys in the Senior Citizen Club. Like that's where they hang out.
That's where it was either that 4-year, $120 million deal or a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Lakers. It was one or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
I think in 2 years, Phoenix is going to regret that deal by year 3.
Absolutely.
Now, okay. So let me ask you this then, because this is the you, Scotty. You always try to dodge out of these damn tough questions. All right. So what do you do now if you run it back and they go back to the finals? I don't know how it happens, but let's say they go back to the finals again. Do you feel stupid about it then, or are you like, you know what? Well, maybe we can take this somewhere. Because, I mean, you never know. The Lakers we all thought the Lakers were a clear-cut favorite, you know what I'm saying, going into it. I said the Phoenix Suns from the beginning, but that's just me because I'm nice with it. But let's just say the LA doesn't make it again with the Senior Citizens group. And now it's Phoenix turn again.
I mean, yeah, if they get back to the finals, I would say it's worth it. At the end of the day, I do agree. I think they may go down the line and regret it and really want to move off that contract. But I feel like you got to at least try to run it back. You have to. You went to the finals the first year he was on your squad. But they got a nice young core. I don't know. Like, is Chris Paul going to be better next season?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, they lost. It's not like they won the finals. Is he going to be better than he was? I don't know. I can see him being worse. He has an injury history as well. So I don't know. It's a tough one. If they make it back to the finals, it's worth it. Yeah, I would definitely answer yeah to that, and I would definitely do it. And I definitely would have brought him back, but I just don't know how that plays out down the road. You're definitely a little bit worried as it goes on. The next one I wanted to bring up, Jared Allen, Cleveland. 5 years, $100 million. I believe he's the 5th highest paid center in the league. How do you guys feel about that? Is that ridiculous to you? Or I don't know how you guys feel about a guy like Jared Allen.
So me personally, I like Jared Allen more than most just because of the role that the center plays in the NBA in today's game. It's not a position that you typically play through unless you have a unique guy like a Joel Embiid, a Karl Towns, or a Jokic. But, on most teams, they focus on getting guys who are rim runners that can rebound. And that's what Jared Allen, that's what he does really well. So for this game that they play right now, I think he's like the quintessential center in today's NBA. So I think it's a fair deal for him.
Yeah, so the next one I would go to, so we got the Utah Jazz. They obviously brought Mike Conley back, and then they also were able to snag Rudy Gay. They're looking like they're scheduled to run it back as well. How did you guys feel about that? Did you think they would bring Mike Conley back?
Didn't think they could run it back, but that's another deal that I think they're going to regret. Mike Conley, what was it, 3 years? 70 million. Basically. Yeah, I think they're going to regret that after a year or two, for sure.
3 years happens to be the magic number for these senior citizens, the ARP members.
And I'd be happy with a 3-year deal right now.
Yeah,
so Scotty, send my agent some notes on a 3-year deal. Right?
Yeah, right. Let me get that AARP special. 3 years.
The last thing I want to throw you guys' way, and then I'll definitely get you guys out of here. As far as free agency as a whole so far, obviously it's nowhere near done. The offseason is just getting started. Winners so far. Who's your winner, JD?
I would say this is a sleeper, but I believe my winner is going to have to be Chicago. They were in obscurity when I fell asleep the other night, and now I'm having a conversation about them on Scotty Talks, and I did not see that. So
that's true.
Yeah.
What about you, Phil?
I mean, he stole it. I agree. It's the Bulls. I mean, I'm not saying they're winning the title. I'm not even saying they're going to be the 5 seed, but they're doing everything in their power to keep Zach Lavine and build that team for the future. Give them if they keep Zach Lavine and are able to lock him up long term, it's going to be a scary team for the East in 2 years when the Nets are all old and washed up, when who knows what else happens. Yeah. They're gonna be one of the beasts of the East for sure in 2 years.
What about you, JD? Or Vance? I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. So for me, I'll go back to Miami. I know those guys are older, but they brought in guys that fit their culture. So, and I think Miami is a little bit closer to competing than Chicago is, just because of all the veterans that they have on that team. They have guys that have won it too. So I think that means something. So, I'm going to go Miami right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like all of your answers. Obviously, Chicago brought themselves back into, I won't say contention, but you know what I mean? They brought themselves back to relevancy at least. And I think that's great for them. Definitely thought Miami made some great moves to kind of pick themselves back up off the floor after getting swept in the first round this season. But I'm gonna go with the Lakers, I guess, just to be different here. But I think they took so many swings at guys with potential. They're gonna hit them, a couple of them at least, right? Like, so they're gonna find some good pieces out of that can kind of supplant LeBron and AD, keep them healthy, take some stress off their shoulders. And ultimately, I commend the Heat and the Lakers. One, it is their location. We all know that. Everybody wants to go live by a beach. Phil said he's moving to Florida.
Hey, and
everybody wants to go live.
It's not just the beaches; it's the tax issues.
The taxes as well. Yes, that is a huge.
Don't forget the tax.
Florida.
That adds so much money to the bottom line right there.
Yeah. So I mean, I commend any of these teams that go out and get it. Take that swing. Go out and get your team a ring. Get your fan base a ring. Mm-hmm. You guys don't know basketball. Shut up. What the hell is that?
Oh, we got the troll. That's
Gint's.
We made it.
That's Joel Embiid's troll Embiid.
That's fine. Thanks for tuning in, Process.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Buddy.
Give us a view, man. For us not knowing anything.
No hate.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Vance, Phil, JD, as always, a pleasure to have you guys on the show. Before we get out of here, I do want to give you all the opportunity, let everybody know what's going on, what you guys got going on. You're all content creators. Vance, I'll let you go first, my man. What you got going on right now?
So guys, I'm 1/4 of the Flyer and Ice podcast at Heat Ratio Sports. Please follow us at Flyer and Ice Pod or podcast on Twitter. And you can also follow me on my personal page, which is crew_love0 on Twitter.
Hold on. We got a Kevin Durant burner in the chat.
Well, that's Kevin. What's up?
Durant, check it in.
Oh my goodness, Kevin Durant checked in. That is insane.
My boy.
Welcome to the show, KD. Honored to have you as a viewer.
I cannot
Kevin
believe
Durant
this
is the
dude
best
came
player.
on here. Shit, it's like 3:00 in the morning where you at, bro. Like, shouldn't you get some sleep?
How does he catch this stuff?
Comment of the show right there. It's 3:00 in the morning.
Hey, greatness never sleeps, baby. You know what they say.
Right.
Phil, let everybody know what you got going on. You got a show right after this.
Yeah, I got 20 minutes to reset and get into fantasy golf and DFS golf. Jason and I, Fairway to Heaven, 9 p.m. right here on DSM. We got a great guy, Artie Betts. He looks like he's 12. He's 23. I checked his ID. Dude is one of the hottest gamblers right now in golf. I mean, this guy's picking a lot of great guys. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night, 9 p.m., trending for 4 quarters. I got a long list of topics for Eagles Talk tomorrow. That's right, 4 quarters tomorrow, 9 p.m. Not sure who's going to be on yet. I got a lot of invites out there. We're not sure who's showing up. We're going to wing it tomorrow night. But yeah, that's what I got going on.
And JD, my man, what do you got going on? I know you got a lot.
Man. I do. So Thursday is our night at UFO. We're ramping up college football, so we're going to be telling you who to look out for this year. If you're a bettor, I don't know if they do college gambling, but somebody will tell me if they do or they don't. But we're going to tell you who is the front runners for the Heisman, who to look forward to seeing this year. And then the next week, we got a guest, Kelly Football, coming on. She's a big Eagles girl. We're going to have her on talking football. And I think you got her first.
You know, I got her on one day sooner. I got her on next Wednesday. You got her next Thursday. I got her next Wednesday.
You know what?
You're stealing. You're trying to steal my guess and copy it off of me. You'll never duplicate greatness, JD.
You the GOAT, man. That's why I try to copy. I'm trying to shine like you. But we got her coming, so we'll have a big talk about the Eagles and what we have to look forward to, possible trade scenarios, and then be looking forward to the tailgate, man. Like, what's up?
Yes, sir.
Plug that tailgate.
Yes, sir. And so that's my job here. I'm going to do the plugging of the tailgate, the plugging of DSM Media. Before I get to it, definitely thank everybody for tuning in today. It was an awesome show, very interactive. I loved all the comments. Created a very open conversation, so I love that. Everybody tune in same time next week. As far as the rest of this week, I do got Turf Talk on Sunday. I believe my man Phil is filling in.
Another show?
Phil may or may not join me Sunday morning.
I got you.
Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. We'll be live, and we'll be breaking down. I believe we are going to the Eastern divisions this week. Don't got the full segment list just yet, but definitely tune in. We'll have plenty to talk about with the NFL. As far as DSM Media, you're seeing it for yourself. Please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're checking out all of our shows. We got over 8 shows now. We just keep adding more. So we got you covered all throughout the week. Make sure you're following DSM Media on Twitter at DSM_media. We're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're everywhere. So be sure to follow us. Just search DSM Media. You'll find us. And the last thing, Open Tailgate. You're going to hear this on every single one of our shows because we're excited about it. We got the Eagles Open Practice August 22nd. Everybody is welcome to come join us out there by the link. We do have, 6 tickets we're going to raffle off to the Open Practice, as well as a Devontae Smith jersey. So much going on. We're going to have Kenwood Beer supplying us with beer that day. We will have some pizza from Phil's Pizza Shop. Phil, I'll allow you to plug that in if you'd like.
Yeah. Free pizza. Fox's Pizza.
There we go.
Best pizza in Kennett Square right there.
Everybody loves pizza. Everybody loves beer. Come join us. We'll go to the Eagles practice together. It's going to be a good time. And just the first of many get-togethers that DSM Media will be hosting. But that is all I got for you guys tonight. My guests, thank you so much for joining. Listeners, thank you so much for watching and listening. Till next time, Scotty is out.